Yeah, we are live right now, and
Okay.
we are live. Peace, 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 peace. My proud family. Welcome to another episode of Do the Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Allah. Got my brother, hip hop historian, psycho atheist in the building, and we got the man, the myth, the legend. You know, the reason for me doing the running man the first time in my damn life. You understand what I'm saying?
What's wrong with that?
Ain't nothing wrong with
Hey,
that.
that's the ace in the building. You know what
What's
I'm
up?
saying?
What song were you doing the Running Man to?
To the symphony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That ain't
Yeah.
Yeah, the symphony. That, oh man, let me tell you that. I tell a story about the first time I heard the symphony all the time, and we was coming back from the record store because everybody for the youngins out there, we actually used to have to go to the record store to get our music and everything. Going to the record store,
Right.
and we had just caught Molly Mall's joint. It had just dropped, and we was going through. We was listening to the joint because we had the radio with us on the way walking back from the record store, and we listening to it. And man, we got to the symphony. Our mind was blown. Like hip hop had changed at that moment. Like because before that, you really didn't have too much collaborations going on. That kind of like set the trend with the whole collaboration thing. It was kind of like you have these MC all stars, and I believe that was your first joint and everything, but you held it down though, yeah, with some heavy hitters on there, and the track was all as a whole was just crazy. So like
Right.
we was losing our minds walking back to the crib and everything. So yeah, that song actually had a lot to do with me picking up the pen and pad. Truth be told. So yeah, shout out to the whole Juice Crew, you, Molly, Biz, Roxanne, Sade, everything. But yeah, how'd you actually get affiliated with them?
with the Juice Crew.
Yeah, with Molly Mall and everybody.
All right, so I was in college. I was in college from the years '84 to '88, and I believe it was my second year in college. I was home for Christmas break, and they were having this rap contest at United States of America out in Queens, New York. And my boy was going out there for this contest. He asked me if I wanted to go. So I met him on the train. I had never rapped by myself. I had always been in groups. Like in high school, we had like a little group. We did a talent show, but it was like five of us on stage. So I had never really been just me by myself on a stage rhyming. And so I went into this contest as a solo MC. I ended up winning the contest.
Mm.
Um, First prize was 6 hours of studio time with Marley Marl, and that's how I got my start.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. And so you had got your studio time, and did y'all immediately start working on your album, or did he already have his album lined up, and he kind of like was trying to squeeze you into his album? Like, how did that work out?
No, that was like a year. That was like a year in the making. So when I first won the contest, it would have been Christmas, like right around Christmas, right before New Year's or whatever, and
Mm.
or I should say. And then they told me I won the 6 hours for the next 5 months, basically from January all the way to like late July, almost August. I was trying to reach Marley Marl on this phone number that they gave me, and every
Mm.
time I called, this girl would answer. She said she was his sister, and he wasn't home. And like literally 6 months of calling with her just saying he not home, he not home. It reached a point where she actually knew my name, knew my voice. How you doing, Ace? He's not here. And then I just think one day she felt sorry for me because she saw I was not giving up.
Yeah.
He kept it real and was, you know what? He don't even live here no more. Here's his real number. Boom. And she gave me the real number. And then I called by now it's 6 months down the road. I'm thinking he's trying to beat me for my studio time. So
Right.
I'm on the phone like a little aggressive, like, yo, what up? Yo, you owe me studio time. Like, what's good? And he was like, all right, yeah, come by Queensbridge Projects on such and such day. He's like, come
Oh,
like I think he said come like 2 p.m. or something like that. And we'll record you. So I went out there early. I got out there like one. Me and my DJ Steady Pace. We out there early, sitting on the bench in front of this building, Queensbridge Projects. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know nothing about Queensbridge Projects. I'm just out there like,
right.
oh, go wrong. And
Mm.
and Craig G walks up, and I only
Mm.
knew of him from his voice. So he just
Mm,
walked up and was like, "Yo, y'all, what y'all waiting for Marley?" He's like, "Yeah, a lot of dudes be out here waiting for him." I'm Craig, and we met that day, like that first day. That's how I met Craig. That first day of the bit, he sat there talking with us for like an hour. Then he went about his business. He said, I'll come by later." And Marley had us out there waiting for like 4 hours, yo, like 4 hours. He came like 5 in the evening or something crazy, and just bought a new car and totally forgot that he even told me to meet him there.
mm,
But that first day, I went up in his crib and I laid my first little demo down or whatever. I think he must have liked what I laid down because he asked me to keep coming back. And so I went
mm,
back to college in the fall, but I had already been there a couple times. I was way past the 6 hours. He was like, "Keep coming back, keep coming back." We cut a
mm.
couple of songs, a couple of the records I laid down. He actually played on BLS. They didn't come out commercially, but he just played them on BLS just to get people reactions.
Right. Yeah, for those who don't know, BLS was a radio station out in the Northeast that Marley was working at the time. On was it Saturdays or Fridays? I forgot what days he had 'em.
Saturdays,
It was
Saturdays.
Saturdays. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
Saturdays. Yeah, so he used to be one of the major DJs out here that used to put out all the new music at the time, all the underground cuts, because back then, hip hop didn't get a lot of spins on normal time and prime time on radio, except for like on Friday, Saturday nights, all the hip hop nights. But yeah, so you did you meet G Rap and Big Daddy not too long after?
I met G Rap maybe like my second session there, and G Rap, he was not a known commodity yet. Polo brought him to Marley's crib,
Mm-hmm.
and Polo had a song out with another MC called MC Frost. They had the song called Polo, and so Frost, from what I learned, I guess Frost got locked up or was locked up at the time and couldn't come to the studio. So Polo was like, "Yo, Marley, I got a new cat. This my man G right here. He gonna record this next joint for me." And
Mm-hmm.
I actually was there that day, watched them lay down. It's a demo.
Oh wow,
I
that's
remember that.
great.
Mm.
I remember because I didn't really like it. Like I didn't like the beat. It was different. Like it
Uh-huh.
was because nobody was really sampling it, and Marley had looped this James Brown thing, and it was like a lot of off kind of. It was
Yeah,
just really off sounding, and I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I was
I
being
thought
quiet, just paying attention, watching.
I thought his second song, Poison, was a much better song myself.
Oh, he had a couple songs for Poison. Yeah, Rikers Island.
Oh,
So
that's right. Rikers Island did come out before Poison. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I'm Fly. He had a joint called I'm Fly too.
Okay, right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. G Rap's classic, and Big Daddy. You met him
I
around that time too.
No, I didn't meet Big Daddy Kane until the day we recorded the symphony.
Oh wow, that
That
same day, huh?
that same day. If you look on the back of Marley Marl's album, you see us all next to the Learjet and that
Uh huh.
posse.
Right, right, right.
So that's photo shoot is the first day I met Kane, and we
Wow.
and we went directly from that photo shoot to Marley's crib in Astoria, Queens, and we recorded the symphony that same day.
Okay. Did y'all write your bars that day, or y'all already had the bars set?
No, I didn't write anything. I wasn't supposed to be on the song.
A
Um,
word.
yeah, the song was supposed. It originally started. The idea originally was let G Rap and Kane do a duet, right?
Right.
And Marley was like, "Yo, I think I should throw Shan on here. Let me ask Shan if he want to be on it." So he mentioned it to Shan at the photo shoot, to which Shan was like, "I ain't messing with that," and Shan went about his business.
Mm.
Mm.
Marley was like, "Well, Craig, you want to jump on it?" And Craig was like, looking all sad. "Hell yeah, I want to jump on it." So Marley kind of like, without asking Kane and G, invited Craig to be on the record. And I guess they didn't know how they felt about that at the time. This is all stuff I'm finding out years later. They was like, "Yo, what's up? We're supposed to be a duet, and now he throwing Craig on it." So the only reason I was even at that session is because they didn't wasn't enough room in Marley's car for everybody. So Kane and G Rap rode with Marley. I was driving, so Craig rode with me, and I drove him over there. But I really wanted to just be nosy and just be
Right.
in the mix, see what dudes was laying down. I just wanted to hear see the process. So I was there as a driver, really, for Craig, and
Mm.
um, and Marley had the beat on, and they was all writing their rhymes in separate corners or whatever, and I was just chilling, really, just
Mm.
waiting to see what they was gonna lay down. So then when it was finally stuff was written, they were kind of back and forth debating about who was gonna rhyme first. Nobody wanted to get on the mic first. Like, yo, G-Rap, go ahead, go ahead. Nah, Craig, you go. It was doing all of this, back and forth playing tennis with who was gonna go first.
Right.
That's why Marley on the song says, "I don't care who first or who last."
Oh,
Oh
that's the story behind that.
shit. Oh shit.
So because of this whole debate, Marley looks over at me and goes, "Yo, Ace, you got some lines for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got something." I always walked around with like a good 10 verses in my head that's memorized for any occasion. So I was like, "Yeah, I
Mhm.
got something." All right, yeah, go ahead, jump in the booth and lay something down. So I go on the mic to start laying my joint down. G-Rap and Kane actually left while I was recording
Mhm.
to the store. But
Mhm.
the real reason they went was because they was like, "Yo, what's up? Why is Marley throwing all these dudes on our record that was supposed to be me and
Oh
you?"
yeah, he wasn't. They wasn't. Yeah, like I said, that was unprecedented at the time. Like people wasn't just jumping. They just have a bunch of people just jumping on the
Right.
track. That was yeah.
So it was supposed to be just a back and forth G-Rap and Kane thing, and then now it's Craig, and now he throws this new guy on that they didn't even know. They didn't know who I was.
Mhm.
They left. I laid my verse down. When they came back, Craig had already laid his verse down. So now they listening to my verse and Craig verse, and like again, I didn't know any of this at the time. I find this out years later of listening to Kane interviews, and Kane is like, "Yo, dude with the glasses is kind of alright. Like yo, all right. I mess with dude with the glass. He was calling me glasses. Yo, glasses is kind of dope."
Right.
And so I guess after they heard my verse, Craig's verse, they weren't as mad at the record, and then they laid their joints down, and the rest is history.
Right. Right. Legendary song. Definitely changed the face of hip hop after that song dropped and everything. And then your album came out, and I remember I was looking forward to your album coming out after hearing the symphony and everything. Your album came out, and I thought it was a banger. I thought it was a classic. It had a bunch of cuts up on there. I was feeling. Some of my favorites was I know Music Man was I was big on that. I think I even had the tape, the singles with
Percent.
yeah, they had the remix on the back. I was feeling the remix too to
Yeah,
it, and did see you had I'm trying to remember let's see as I reminisce, I was feeling that one.
yeah.
Let's see, what was the other one? Let's see, Ace is Wild, that was dope. Me and Biz, I was feeling that too. So yeah, you had a bunch of songs on there that I was feeling. I thought the album was underrated.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, you got to remember, I'm on a label with all of these big superstar artists. Bismarck, he was blowing up. Kane was blowing up. G-Rap was
Mhm.
legend. Roxanne Shante was the girl of the crew killing it, and MC Shan was really the guy who set that whole thing off. He was really the
Right.
first label. So
Mhm.
when you're in an atmosphere like that with all of these well-known, notable artists that are putting out music that the streets love, it's hard to find your way and figure out where you fit in into all of it. So that's why the album got overlooked, because there were artists on there that were bigger, that were more pressing for the label to push. So I kind of got left, a little pushed to the wayside a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you see how many albums did you drop with Cold Chillin'?
One, one,
One. That was the only one. Okay, and then afterwards, where did you what label did you move to afterwards? Because I know that wasn't your only album.
yeah, no, I signed with Delicious Vinyl and dropped two albums with them. 1993, I dropped Slaughterhouse. 95, I dropped Sitting on Chrome. And then so I did two albums with them, and then there was like a long hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to really like I kind of got disenchanted with the industry, and I decided that I didn't want to be an artist anymore. I was going to try to work more behind the scenes, because it was just felt like an uphill battle trying to put records out and get people to pay attention and get radio spins and all of that. So I just decided to become a producer. I started trying to shop my beats to different artists and different labels, and I spent about 5 6 years roughly doing that, trying to just get on as a producer. And then it wasn't really until 2000 that I got a renewed feeling of wanting to record again, and that
Right.
was really sparked by me going overseas to Europe for a tour in 2000. I did 13 shows. I think it was like 7 or 8 shows in the UK, and then some shows in Germany. And from
Mm-hmm.
and from that 13 city tour in Europe, I came back with a renewed energy and wanting to do another album. In
Right.
2000, my first independent album, Disposable Arts, on our.
Yes, sometimes you need that break just to get refreshed again and everything. So I definitely understand. Did you have a lot of did you have a lot of creative control back when you was with Cold Chillin', and like did you or with the other labels, or did you feel like you kind of was in a box, or they kind of like had a plan for you that they're trying to put you in a box?
So I didn't have creative control over my first album with Cold Chillin' because Marley Marl was the man. He was the one that was kind of calling the shots and directing me. Man, I'm brand new. You know what I'm saying? I never
Yeah.
recorded an album before. I'm just following his lead. You
Uh huh.
know, I brought a lot of music to the table, stuff that I wanted to rap over. A lot of my mom's records, I
Hmm.
would bring them up there in a little shopping bag. Like, yo, I like this beat right here. I want to rhyme over this. Can you make a beat off of this?
Hmm.
But in terms of like the content or whatever, a lot of it was really just Marley, like kind of like guiding me,
Right.
on how to do it. Once I learned what to do, by the time I got to Cold Chillin', I mean, but by the time I got to Delicious Vinyl for my album in '93, they gave me full creative control on that album Slaughterhouse. They were like, give us a record. And I went
Right.
in, Slaughterhouse was the result. It was me, a bunch of different producers, probably similar to the modern, like when Dr. Dre put out the Chronic, and you hear back about the sessions, how so many different people in the sessions, musicians, rappers, producers, all in the
Yeah.
room. He was overseeing the whole thing and piecing it all together, but there was a lot of different creative energy in the room, and that's how he came up with the Chronic. The Slaughterhouse album was a lot like that. There was about 5 or 6 different producers that came through with different beats, and I would be like, oh, I like that loop, but I don't like those drums. Let me find some drums to go with it. And that was how we made that. But they really left it up to me on that album. And then so I had creative control on Slaughterhouse, but then I didn't have creative control again until 2001 when I dropped Disposable Arts. And that was really the album where I didn't have anybody in my ear saying anything. Because
Yeah.
usually with a label, they're gonna say, "Yo, there's not really no upbeat tempo joints. Like, we need something for the radio. We need something for the club."
Hmm.
Like, I didn't have to listen to any of that. I told my partner, Filthy Rich Ahi, and my other partner, DJ Rob, that yo, let me do the record I'm gonna do, and
Hmm.
just and they were really unsure about if could let me just go, but they let me go. And as I put it together, when it all finally came together, they were like, "Wow, like we didn't know you were gonna." We didn't see it until you finished it, and now we see it, and it's my
Right.
my best body of work, in my opinion, of my career.
I was just going to ask you that. Did you feel that way? You just answered my question. So yeah, I understand. Like because it kind of it probably gave you a sign of validation that you wasn't just a Marley creation. You can go out here and hold it down yourself as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt like after once I did Slaughterhouse, I felt like I had full control, and I felt like I knew what I was doing, and I knew that there were fans out there that messed with me. The success of songs like INC Ride and Born to Roll and Sitting on Chrome, those are records that got major radios. I got more radio play from those records than I ever did from the stuff I did with Marley. And those records are records that I produced myself. So I knew um, that there was an audience out there for what I was trying to, you know, lay down. So that never really entered my mind. I knew that there was fans out there for what I was trying to do as long as I put it together right.
Right, right. Because the underground never lost love for you. You know what I'm saying? Like the underground always appreciate you. I
Right.
I believe I've heard stories about Eminem referencing you. I think in his book as being a big influence of his. So like you have affected people. It's like I said, coming up and everything. Like I said, that Symphony song was a huge part of me picking up the pen and pad and everything. I was like, oh well, if I'm going to do this, I got to step my game up. I got to. If I can't spit where I feel like I could even be in the same room with these guys, then I don't need to be doing it. So y'all definitely raised the bar for me. I appreciate that. Knowledge, you got anything you wanted to say?
I wanted to talk about disposable arts and Long Hot Summer. Like Long Hot Summer got a special place in my soul. But the question I wanted to ask, ever since I heard recognize, I wanted to know who was you talking about? Was you talking about a person specifically? I don't even know if you remember,
You
but
talk-
that joint.
you talking about the song "Acknowledge"?
Acknowledge. There we go. Yeah, acknowledge. Yeah, yeah.
I say the names of the people that I was talking about on the song. The first verse was about High and Mighty, which I named, and the second verse was about Boogeyman, which I named. Like I didn't. It wasn't subliminal. It was direct. It was directly aimed at people, and because there were people that I thought had really took shots at me, um, from me not being out for so long. It was like my last album had come out in '95. Now it's 2001, and it's like, oh, he out of here, like he's done. So dudes was just taking little jabs, little shots or whatever, and so it was my chance to go back at the. It was other people that said stuff, but they weren't. They didn't even. They didn't really to command my response. They were just like peons that I was like, I'm not even gonna respond to them dudes. But there was other people that could have got it.
Yeah, that was the artful casket for them. You know, the shit was so dope. I wasn't even paying attention to who you was talking to. I just thought it was out there for anybody. Like, yeah,
Probably because
um,
those the artists that I was talking about on the song, they weren't really commercially known artists. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you it would go over your head like if I had said another name that you knew right away as soon as you heard it, you'd be like, oh, he talking about whoever, such and such. But you didn't really know who High and Mighty was probably, or who Boogeyman was, because Boogeyman hadn't even dropped the album yet. High and Mighty actually had a fan base, but they were mostly like uh kind of like the underground white crowd fan base. So
Yeah.
black community wasn't aware of those guys at all, but I was aware of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, what's your favorite era of hip hop?
Oh wow. Probably early to mid '90s. I would say early to midnight, like up to like 95, 96, right in there.
Mm-hmm. Does that come from a fan perspective or as an artist?
Fan perspective. Fan perspective. To me, there was a lot of innovating going on at that time with production. You
Mm-hmm.
had Rob and De La Soul making just a completely different sound than everybody else, but it was still dope.
Right.
There was just so much variety. Everybody was trying to sound different and be different and rap about different stuff. You had tours. There was tours going out with like NWA, and then they'd have like Kwame and Big Daddy Kane.
Right.
Too Short. Like just a complete like 5, 6 artists that were completely different
Mm-hmm.
in,
Yeah.
in but
95 takes me
but
back to one of the most underrated motherfuckers of all time. My personal opinion, Smooth the Hustler. I believe that's the year he was killing the streets, if I ain't
yeah,
mistaken. But yeah,
he's
that
from,
I was big on him.
he's from
Huh?
my hood, Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, 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 yep. Brownsville, yeah. He was killing the streets in '95. He was killing them, man. Trigger.
Yep.
yeah. I'll jump in real quick with Long Hot Summer. I just wanted to tell you, like, uh, we went through on saying me and a couple of my brothers, based off of this pop, and Summer was a jewel that I caught with No State, Master Killer's album. So Master Ace and Master Killer, gifts that I help cope with some of the things of combat and being in war. You see what I'm saying? Like the stories, you know what I'm saying? Like all of the artful wordplay and vivid storytelling. So you took on the journey. You see what I'm saying? You took us on a journey, and it helped a lot of us, a lot of them crazy ass situations that we were in. So I know I just wanted to get your take on the album, kind of like your motivations behind the album.
Well, the album, like I said, I really felt like Disposable Arts that came out in '01 was my best body of work up to that point. And so what happened was the month after the album dropped, our distributor went out of business. They went bankrupt. They stopped distributing my record like 1 month after it came out. So I thought it was a shame that Disposable Arts was not going to get um it wasn't going to reach the people that it should reach. And so I felt like I got shortchanged. So I decided to do another record that was connected to Disposable Arts. So I created this album, A Long Hot Summer, And on the album, there's a skit. I mean, there's a group of skits that tell a story um, of a character who I play and how the summer before he got sent away to jail, and um, the reason I designed the story in that way is because at the beginning of Disposable Arts, that same character is coming out of jail. The very first song on the album is Too Long, and the first skit is called The Release. And so it was my way of connecting the two albums. So in a lot of ways, Disposable Arts was the sequel to A Long Hot Summer, even though A Long Hot Summer came out after Disposable Arts. So A Long Hot Summer came out in '04. That was the prequel to my album Disposable Arts, came out in '01. But it was my way of making people, I figured once people heard A Long Hot Summer, they would say, and they would find out through my interviews that there was an album that it was connected to. They would go, "Oh, word! I got to get that album. I didn't know about that." So I figured if people heard this Long Hot Summer, and they heard at the very end of the album that my character was in jail, and then they found out that the story continues, and the album the character comes out of jail, and what happens after that, it will make people want to go pick up that album as well. So that was my thinking and why I created that album the way I did.
That's dope. That's dope. But it's sad that your label went bankrupt right before it dropped. Did the album get like? Did you ever get a chance to get the album out?
Oh yeah, we've reissued it a number of times over the years. I mean, we still sell vinyl and CDs of that album to this day. That album still generates um, income for me,
Mm-hmm.
as does A Long Hot Summer. I
Okay.
sell the vinyl and the CDs on my website, and those two albums I take on the road with me, and I sell them at the merch table at shows as well, and they sell
Mm-hmm.
really well.
Yeah. If you had to rewind and go back to 1988 again, what would you do different as far as the industry goes, if anything?
If I went back to '88, um, I would probably record different music for the Marley album, like than the solo songs that I did. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like um, I should have like I kind of did songs that were kind of gimmicky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a song called Simon Says, and it was kind of
Yeah.
gimmicky. Yeah, and then I had a song called Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, which was a little bit more along the lines of what I would do, but maybe a little preachy. So
Mm-hmm.
I probably the one thing I would do differently is probably just kind of change the musical content that I put on that album, and
Right.
stuff that was a little bit more down the middle of
Mm-hmm.
what people. It was. I think the stuff was just too different and too out there, and it should have been maybe a little bit more just a banger that people could dance to or rock to or play in the club. Um,
Right.
so I might put different songs on that album. But I think it would establish me more um,
Mm-hmm.
out as an artist.
Yeah, it was a good album. It was a good album. It was a lot of easy listening music, but I understand you didn't really have that one radio hit that just kept ringing in people's heads over and over and over again and everything else. So yeah, I understand. Um, yeah, I mean, like, so after like one that I remember the question I was going to ask you. Leaving Cold Chillin', was that something like, how did that happen? Like, did the label start to fall, or did you decide, was it decision you made because you felt maybe a little crowded over there?
Well, it was definitely crowded. Um,
Yeah.
but in addition to that, Coachella had wasted a lot of money, and so their distributor Warner Brothers um, was basically putting the pressure on them, saying, you guys have signed too many people. At that time, they must have had about 15 artists signed, aside from the ones that
Mm-hmm.
Big Kane, Bismarcky, MC Shan, Shantae,
Mm-hmm.
OG Rap and Polo, myself. They
Mm-hmm.
signed Granddaddy IU, an artist named Diamond Shell, Kid Capri, The Genius, also known
Mm-hmm.
as from Wu Tang Clan,
Right.
and I'm probably leaving out one or two others. But it
Mm-hmm.
got really, really crowded over there, and so you know Warner Brothers wasn't happy with the way Coach Chillin was moving. They were spending a lot of money, but they weren't seeing the return on sales. So they
Mm-hmm.
so they basically said, you need to cut some of these artists. And they gave them a list of all of the artists, all 12 artists, and they drew a line. And it was like, everybody below this list, you got to figure out something else because we're not going to distribute them. And my name fell right below that line. I was the first name right below that line of people that they didn't want to
The
continue to.
last cut.
Yeah, so I had to figure something else out. I had a manager at the time. He had a relationship with the guys out in LA at Delicious Vinyl, and they were working on an album for the brand new Heavies, called Heavy Rhyme Experience. Was basically a collaboration of a band and a bunch of different rap artists.
Mm-hmm.
And they signed me up to do one song for that compilation album, and the label fell in love with what I delivered in terms of the song, and they were like, "Yo, we'll sign Ace." And
Okay.
it was a perfect situation. So they basically bought me out of my contract with
Right.
Coach.
And that's when you did the Slaughterhouse album, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you said that was your best work according to your personal opinion, as far as like on an artist level, right?
Now, my best work was in '01, Disposable Arts, going forward.
Oh, okay.
I
All
was
right.
I was still figuring stuff out in '93. Slaughterhouse, my second album. That was my first time embarking on out doing an album by myself with no Marley, no guardrails, no training wheels. I had to take
Mm-hmm.
had to take whatever I learned watching Marley in the studio and try to apply it to putting
Right.
out together a whole record by myself with no help at all. And so I was still learning. Like I said, it's definitely not my best body of work, although it has a huge cult following of people who love that album. Like the reason Eminem mentions me among his influences is because of that album. That album, when it came out, him and his boys used to drive around banging that album that whole summer of '93. That was their joint.
Right. That's what's up. And that's what's up. And so you got any people under you now, like that you promoting or whatever, or helping get their foot in the game? Are you mentoring anybody?
Not really. I mean, the people that I work with, I've been working with since 2000. Strickland is an MC from Milwaukee who travels with tours with me, does all. He's on stage with me most of my shows all
Mm.
around the world. He's a dope ass MC, and I think he's going to eventually put together his own project. He's been at this for over 20 years. He used to be signed to Tommy Boy back in the late '90s, and Wordsworth is another brother who. And we did a group together called EMC that came out in the 2006 or seven. We dropped an album
Mm.
together. Group, couple albums actually. We did two albums and an EP.
Yeah.
Um, but those guys are super talented. But they're not under my like umbrella or anything like that. Another cat
You ever
named.
thought about producing or anything, or getting into that side of the game?
Well, I mean, I was really producing from the very beginning.
Right.
I just
Okay.
kind of chilled on the production. I got co-production on my first album with Marley Marl. He lists me as co-producer of that album,
Okay.
and I co-produced Slaughterhouse. I produced almost all of Sitting on Chrome, and then I
Hmm.
chilled on the production for a while because I felt like I wrote better rhymes when I wrote to other people's music than when I wrote to my own. So I,
Right.
I kind of chilled on the production for a while, but I still have my pre-production studio at the crib. But then my wife got pregnant, and that extra bedroom, which used to be my pre-production room,
Right.
became the baby room, and I put all my
Right.
stuff in boxes, and it's been in boxes ever since.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand. And yeah, like I said, you don't get enough credit to me as far as like in the hip hop game. You've been doing this for quite a while, and like I said, you influenced a lot of MCs. A lot of people, credit you and the Juice Crew as a whole just for being the iconic group they is. It's fun to hear the behind the scenes stories and everything, and some of the things that we didn't know. See how things worked and everything else maneuvered. It's kind of sad that it didn't get to stay together. I understand you said it was being crowded, and you said that Jizza was one of the people down in Cold Chillin', and he ended up being a part of another crowded situation. And I hear that, I know some of those Wu-Tang stories, and yeah, they had some of the same complaints, so to speak, as far as like too many artists being around, and it's kind of hard. You kind of get swallowed up after a while.
Right.
So yeah, And at the time, hip hop was still kind of new. I'm sure Marley was trying to figure it out himself. It really wasn't, it really wasn't no book, instruction manual to try to, pretty much manage all these different artists on one hip hop label. People were still trying to figure the whole hip hop scene out a little bit because it still was new. It still was new. So
Right.
he probably spread himself too thin, and that was, yeah, it's sad in hindsight. But it put out great music though. Still put out great music. It's just
I
sad it couldn't last.
appreciate it. Well, for me, it's lasted. I've been fortunate. My most recent record came out in 2017, album with Marco Polo, called
Hmm.
Story, completely produced by Marco Polo, and we were on our second full year of touring until this whole pandemic happened. But we'll get back at it. We're actually going to go back in the studio and do another one together because it just was received so well. We didn't know what the reaction would be, but fans around the world have just really reacted strongly to this project. So we're working on another one now.
That's what's up. Still working. That's a good thing. Still working. That's a true MC right there. That's a true MC. That's what it is. Knowledge. Yeah.
Would, would you say your creativity and your range has changed over time, or you know your moments of hunger? You see what I'm saying? Are you hungrier now than you were when you first started?
I think the creativity is still the same. Still feel I always push myself to be creative and not be, an in the box type artist. I don't want to just listen to what's going on and go, oh, I can do a record like that and then do a record like that. I always wanted to try to push the envelope. If you listen to any of my albums, I was always kind of going against whatever was the trend or whatever was really the popular thing. I was always trying to push against that. Um, so the creativity, that's just part of who I am. Is to not be the norm or walk the same line as everybody else. I'm always going to try to be creative and different about everything I put together. Um, but you know, I'm still I'm hungry from the standpoint of feeling like I'm motivated, I should say, by with feeling like I've never really gotten that due necessarily, or people haven't really paid attention or given that credit, that love that really is deserved, and that's kind of what fuels me. It keeps me going. Every time I'm writing a song or a rhyme or a bar, I'm thinking that they don't pay attention to you. Like you're somebody who is not mentioned among the best cats. Like your name doesn't come up in the top 50. Sometimes I've seen lists top 100 and my name is left off. So I know there's not 99 rappers, 100 rappers better than me in terms of lyrics, in terms of songs, in terms of music. But those are I look for those things because those are the things that keep me motivated.
Did songwriting become was songwriting easy for you? Because I know a lot of people think because they can spit a freestyle over instrumental on the block, or maybe they can even battle rap. They think they can go in the studio and make a dope song, and it's actually completely different making a song. I'm sure you understand different. So but did it come easy for you, or did you have to work on actually learning how to make an actual song opposed to just spitting bars?
I'll be honest with you. I think that the song writing part of it came more naturally to me. I'm a writer at heart. I'm a
Okay.
storyteller at heart. So to me, that was easier than um, constantly coming up with battle bars or battle lines, because that can get old and stale and boring after a while, unless you have a specific target or somebody that you're going at for a particular reason. I've always found it easier to write songs. Like the I mentioned the rap contest that I won. Like I did two different rap. I did two different raps in that contest, and both were topical raps. My first little topic I did a song really. It's called Silver Suckers, and it was about dudes who was rocking sterling silver. Because by then we talking about 85, 86. Everybody's wearing gold. So I wrote a rhyme with a chorus and everything called Silver Suckers, and it just so happened that there was a dude in the audience that had on like Mr. T amount of silver chains on his neck.
Yeah.
So the crowd was going crazy, pointing at him. Oh, he talking to him. So they thought maybe I had wrote the verse about the guy in the crowd.
Right.
It just really worked out that he was in the crowd. So and then right after that Silver Sucker mini, it was like a mini song. It was like a two verses, two choruses, and then the beat switches and it goes right into this other joint. And that
Mm,
joint and that song, I'm gonna call it a song. It was called A Hoe is a Hoe. Back then we called them routines. And A Hoe is a Hoe was really a story rhyme about meeting this girl, thinking that she was cool and cute and all of that. Come to find out that she was a hoe, and I tell this intricate story with this crazy surprise ending. And I had the beat program with the beat dropping out right on the perfect lines.
right.
So both of those instances, those were songs they were short songs, two verse.
Yeah.
I think the Silver Suckers had two verses and the Hoe was a Hoe had two verses, but they
Mm,
had choruses and everything, and the crowd
okay.
followed the stories all the way through. All of the lines were perfect. It's so
Hmm.
crazy because I actually remember sitting in the lobby of the skating rink with my boy programming the drums right there in the lobby of the skating rink before the contest to make sure that the beat dropped out when it was supposed to drop out. Now you could have easily like miscounted your bars and one, the beat drop out one bar too early, whatever. But
Yeah.
for us to sit there and program that joint and then go right on stage and do it was kind of crazy.
Yeah. No mic checks, nothing.
Nah, it was just like, okay, who's next? I think I went like 15th or something, and it was like 30 people that day that rock.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days. Yeah. You got sign your name on the paper. Sign your
Yeah,
name on the paper. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So that was like, was that your only talent show, or was that just the one that did it for you? That got you a foot in the door.
but that was the actual. I did a town school before that,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and me and we had a crew called the Come Alive five brothers that was all on the football team, all my teammates, and the
All
five
right.
got up there. We was straight Run DMC with the leather blazers on, the leather blazer,
Mm.
shell toe Adidas, and we did a rhyme. But when you're in high school, like talent shows are really popularity contests. We was popular because we
That's
was
true.
everybody loved the football team, so we kind of was gonna win no matter what, even if our rhymes were terrible. But the rhymes, everybody did their thing. The verses were dope, and everybody killed it. So we wound up winning that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How old was you when you wrote your first rhyme?
Ooh, man. Now I wrote a poem when I was in seventh grade or sixth grade, maybe. I wrote this poem that my grandmother had saved in her nightstand for years, and
Hmm.
I would come back. I would come back to visit and go on her nightstand and find that rhyme. I mean, I wrote it as a poem, but if you read it, because I didn't write it to a beat, but if you read it, you can hear the rhythm of it. And this is really before I was trying to rhyme. I was just trying to
Hmm.
write stuff that rhymed and sounded cool, not realizing that I was really rapping yet. So I was probably in sixth grade.
Nice, nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. How old was you when you first realized you was nice? Like when you really like killed the crowd or something, and you was like, I think I can probably do this for real, for real.
I want to say high school, like ninth grade, 10th grade, something like that, because there was other guys on the team that rhymed. So what we would kind of do is after practice, dudes would be on the bus rhyming, just going bars for bars, and I always got a reaction to stuff I said. Like everybody didn't get the same reaction, but I was always saying some stuff that was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
That's where you get the confidence from, and you get the validation that maybe I'm alright with this. Maybe I'm
yeah.
cool. And so it was a slow process of me gaining that confidence, and then
Mhm.
eventually dudes started coming up to our school to battle after school, like on some coming from another school, waiting
Right.
outside. I remember with this guy from another high school. I don't even know what school he was from. I want to say he was like from Lincoln High School or something like that. But we came out to school after practice, or it might even not even been football season. It might have been after football season. We came out of school, and the whole crew of dudes outside that's not from our school. Now you would think the dudes was getting ready to fight or whatever, but it wasn't no fight. It was like, yo, we heard y'all got some of y'all dudes Quran. What's up? And dudes were just going bar, line for line, verse for verse. And it was some good battles. Like those dudes was nice, we was nice. We had the
Mhm.
crowd because it was more. They came to our school, so more people was cheering for us. But I remember going back and forth with the dude for a while.
Nice. Any of them actually ever ended up coming like out later, like industry people that you got into a battle with before they came out?
Yeah, one dude. I don't know if you guys say you're hip hop historians, so I'm gonna ask you: have you ever heard of a group called the Dismasters
Ooh, you might got me there. No, this Masters. No, they from Brooklyn.
from Brooklyn? Well, I think two of the main dudes are from Brooklyn, but the Dismasters had a song called "Part Time Hustler" or "Small Time." You go on YouTube, you can find the song. Just
Mm-hmm.
this "Small Time Hustler." It'll pop up, and you can listen to the song. But they had a crew. It's like two or three of them that rhyme. Their mo was all their rhymes was just battle rhymes. Every like the songs were battle rhymes. They were always
Right, right.
whatever the competition was. That all their songs was about this and do. That's why they felt this early on before I was ever even met Barley or any of that. I went to a showcase or something in Brooklyn on Fulton Street. I wound up battling against this guy named Raven T, who was a member of this crew called Dismasters. Now this is before they even had records out. Only
Mm.
the dudes that battle dudes. And I went back and forth with this guy from this because they were so used to just dudes. They rhymes about your clothes, teeth, your hair, your this, your that. But I walked around with the same kind of rhymes all the time. So we stepped into this battle against each other, and he was expecting the same usual thing. Rappers coming in talking about I'm dope, I'm better than you, I'm that. And I was going at him with his clothing, his this, that, and the line, and the crowd, which was all his crowd, they were like, "Yo, dude is like holding his own." They never saw nobody that could really stay with him like that. We went back and forth 2 or 3 rounds. It was a great battle, and it's so wild to me because sometimes when something you experience years later, you think about it and you start to question, did that really happen? Because I remember this, but nobody's ever talked about it. Only one other dude that was with me, he's even fuzzy on it. And one day I was at the show recently, actually, like 2 years ago. I was backstage at this hip hop show in New York City, and this MC came up. He was like, I remember when you battled Raven T on Fulton Street. I said, what? He's like, yo, I was a little kid. I wasn't even supposed to be in there. But yo, who this Ace dude? Like, cause he knew the Dismaster dude, but he was like, who this Ace dude? He's like, I was like probably like 13. I wasn't even supposed to be in that club, and that was like one
Mm.
of the battles. I said, yo, I gave him a hug. I was like, yo, thank you for mentioning that because I said to this day I never met anybody that was there.
All right. That's what's up. That's a crazy story. That's great. Your favorite city you toured in?
Wow, that's a lot of them, man. Wow. I'll just run off a couple of my favorites: Zurich, Switzerland, uh,
Mm.
Ber- Berlin, Germany, Paris, France. Um,
Yeah.
Geez, Louise, there's so many joints, so many dope cities, man. There's so many in Germany. I'm probably better off
Yeah.
countries and cities, but Germany's super dope. Poland is crazy, incredible. Switzerland, always dope shows. The UK, England, some of my dopest shows was in London.
Right.
Um,
Mm.
that's just to name a few, man. There's so many, so many I can name, but it's
Yeah.
it's just I consider those favorites because of the audiences. Paris, France, I said, but the audience, they're knowledgeable. They know
Yeah,
the
they are.
songs.
Mm.
And Paris and London in particular, they have a lot of hip hop there, right? So they're a lot like New York crowds. We've seen it all, we've heard it all. If you don't come with some stuff, if your show is not dope, we're not giving it up. And so
Right.
you had to really, really be on your A game and win those crowds over. And I've done that on numerous occasions. Um, I should also mention Vancouver, in Canada, Toronto. I've had some super dope shows in Toronto, Canada, as well. But there's a lot of cities, man, that represent this music. Sydney, Australia, super dope crowds there. Melbourne, Australia, just super energetic crowds. I did a show in uh in um in Cape Town, South Africa, but Johannesburg was the spot in South Africa, and the crowd there,
Mm.
like such a memorable night. There must have been 600, 700 people in there. My first time ever performing in South Africa, and they were with me every step of the way, every song, every bar, every verse, and they make so much noise and give up so much energy. Just great memories.
Nice. Nice. So yeah, you who's the biggest artist you ever toured with?
Toured with. See, I didn't do a lot of big tours early in my career when everybody was going out with the Fresh Fest and all of those kind of tours and stuff.
Right.
I
That was
was
before you, right? Fresh Fest was out before you, right?
I wasn't. I mean, I was probably, yeah. I hadn't even met Marley yet. But like
Yeah.
even the tours later, like the Def Jam tours, like Kane would be on all those tours because he had like huge records like that were getting spun everywhere. My record, like I did like mini tours. I did a little couple of runs with Far Side and stuff like that, but we were on the same label. But I didn't really start touring legitimately heavy until 2000. To be honest with you,
Okay.
the rest of it was like spot dates. Yo, you got a weekend out in the Midwest. You're gonna do 3 shows, and then you
Mm.
got a weekend in LA or Cali. You're gonna do 3 shows. You got a couple of shows in Texas. So I would like fly out, do 3 shows, come back home. But as far as like full out tours, that didn't start for me till 2000, and
Okay.
and I
Right.
was doing all my tours. So,
Right.
but
Right.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. Knowledge. He's the overseas guy. He's been everywhere overseas.
now, she was in the service.
Yeah, that buzz was crazy overseas, and I know they buy your tape, they buy your record, they buy your CD. You see what I'm saying? And they study it, you know.
They buy
And
t-shirts.
hip hop is unfiltered over. Yeah, you like you still break dancing, you still beat some Cassius break dancing. You understand what I'm saying? Like me and
Right.
my fam, one night in the spot, we got into it with some Turks out there on the breakdancing tip. I'm like, hold the fuck up, yo. Y'all ain't about to just be out here like y'all got it. So we had to get down. You understand? Not even on the fight tip, on the
Right.
breakdancing tip. We all over the floor. And my little brother getting busy. You know what I'm saying? The element is still there. You know, that space is still hunger. You know,
It's still,
crisscross come on at 5 o'clock in the morning in the club. You know what I'm saying? The cats is jumping up and down, like
yeah,
you
man.
know what I'm saying, like that kind of vibe. That it's unforgettable. So to be able to know and music as a whole, you know, BB King toured overseas until he transitioned. You see what I'm saying? Like so many of those artists, like that love for music, it's still there. It's still reverberate, and then midst of everything else that's going on.
That's facts.
Yes, I know it's love. I know it's love. You got something that you got coming up in the works in your mind, like a book or something,
Yeah,
documentary?
working on a hip hop musical. I'm writing a hip hop musical. It's
Nice.
be for stage. I'm collaborating with a company called Rhymes Over Beats. You can follow them on Instagram or Twitter, Rhymes Over Beats. And basically, I'm taking the storylines from Disposable Arts, A Long Hot Summer, and a more recent album called The Fallen Season. And I'm kind of combining the storylines and writing a separate, brand new story, but utilizing some of those characters. Like you mentioned, A Long Hot Summer is the album that you liked. You remember there was a character on there called Fats Belvedere. Well, that
That's
that
dope. Yeah.
that that character is in the musical. Um, on Disposable Arts. My character's girlfriend, her name was Lisa. She had the drug dealer boyfriend. I mean the drug
Yeah,
dealer.
yeah.
So
Baby
um,
father.
and Lisa was trying to get brother's crew and
Mm,
get on some street stuff. But I was like, nah, I'm going to school. Um, so those elements are actually in this musical that I'm writing, and I have the script. We got a ways to go on it. Like we had our first table read. We had some talented actors come in and just sit down, so we could just hear the whole thing from beginning to end and make changes. So I'm still at that stage of tweaking it, making changes to the story. I'm still writing the songs. I have a bunch more songs to write, and that's probably taking
mm,
most time because coming up with the lyrics and this is a new experience for me because I'm used to just writing a song, and where I'm writing the song, I can kind of go wherever I want to go creatively. I can just go wherever I want. Lyrics can be they can be over here, over there. There's no real structure to it. But in a musical, I'm learning that the song has to push the action forward. So I might have a 3 pages of dialogue between two characters, and then they tell me, well, that dialogue is cool, but that sounds like a song to us. So convert that dialogue that these characters are having, turn that into a song. Now that's a little bit more challenging as a writer. So you got to go in and go, okay, now I got to convert these words into a rhyme that sounds dope and still helps tell the story and complete the action. So instead of it being a conversation, now it's rhymes. But it can't be corny. That's the thing. Like you could just write some real corny stuff. I've seen
yeah,
rap in musicals, and it's like it sounds so corny and stiff. But I want it to be flavorful and skillful. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on this hip hop musical. We got, like I said, we got a long way to go. I don't see anything transpiring before next year at the soonest. But yeah, that's in the works. And of course, like I mentioned, the album with Marco Polo, the second album. We don't have a title. I haven't even written a rhyme yet, but I got a bunch of the beats. He's giving me like maybe I got about probably I picked about 10 or 12 beats already. So we're at least got the music going, and I just got to get the rhymes together.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's a good idea with the musical. That's something different. That's something different. That's a lot of work too, like you were saying. So good luck with that.
It's a lot of work.
I want to ask. I gotta ask about Brooklyn Masala. Otherwise, my
Yeah,
mans and them they'll cuss me out. You understand what I'm saying? Um, did that happen, or was it an inspiration from some other things that kind of took place?
I've been asked that. Masala is not based on a true story. It's more fantasy in my head. The original. Um, I don't know if you've ever heard the original version of that. It's a completely different beat, but the beat itself kind of had it had this like it sounded like an Indian dude like doing a chant. Yeah, 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 yeah. But to me, it sounded like an Indian influenced beat. I don't even know where they got the sample from. So when I wrote the rhyme, I was writing it with that in mind. Like this sounds like India to me, so I'm gonna write about an Indian girl. So I wrote the song about this Indian girl to this beat that kind of was the Indian beat. And a lot of people don't notice, but the rhyme was originally written for Will Smith. That whole rhyme was written for Will Smith. He wound up not using it, so I wasn't gonna let that go to waste. I'm like, I'm using this, and I just flipped a couple of the words, changed a few things around, and I used it for myself.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
exactly.
what kind of jewel was that? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you dropped off for a second. Go
yeah,
ahead.
that was my joint. The joint with Big Noise was crazy. The joint with Big Noise was crazy.
Yeah, do it, man.
Yeah,
That was produced.
this is how we do it.
That was produced by Marco Polo. That's the same guy that I did the album with 2 years ago. And
Really,
same producer.
oh, I love that shit. Sword up shots, give me what you got. Whoa, I love that joint right there. Crazy. So I think we stole more time than we agreed to. We appreciate it, and I hope that you consider us, coming
Nah,
back through here,
it was a
building
cool,
with us, and get things together.
absolutely, it was a cool conversation. Just stay in touch on Instagram or whatever, and when some stuff starts coming out, we'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely. We'll help promote whatever you got coming up. Just let us
Absolutely.
know.
Most definitely.
All right, brothers, y'all be safe.
All right, you too.